Alright, so last week we worked with oil pastels. And if you notice, oil pastels are very soft and you can blend with them, but they don't make very sharp lines, right? It makes very thick lines, but not very sharp lines. Now, before you've worked with colored pencils, and these are very hard, right? The tip is hard, so you're able to make very thin lines. However, it's not as easy to blend them together like oil pastels. So this week we're going to use crayons, and most of you have used crayons before when you were in elementary school probably, or even now you might use crayons to color things in. Now, crayons are a good combination between colored pencils and oil pastels. So you've already done this with pencil, but today we're going to do this with crayon. So hatching is basically, making lines, all right? So 1, 2 lines, okay? Now you can do that diagonally, you can do it straight up and down, you can do it side to side. Either way it's gonna work, but as long as it's in one direction, right? So I'm gonna leave the white space blank, and I'm just gonna put a few lines in here just to mark off, the hatching area, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and go through the rest of this. And what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna put the lines down just a bit closer. And what's gonna happen is, it's going to have a bit darker effect for the tone. And I'm gonna do the same thing and keep going and going and going, all right? Now for this last one here, I'm just gonna basically almost overlap these lines. So I'm gonna try and make them as close together as I can. Okay, so you can't even probably see the lines because of the crayon. Now if this was pencil, you'd be able to see each line separately, but because it's crayon and it's so thick, you really can't see the lines. So basically I'm just gonna overlap and leave almost no space. But I'm still going in one direction, okay? I didn't change the direction. I'm still going in one direction for each of these. But as you can see, the more lines I add, the darker it gets, all right? So let's go ahead and do the same thing for cross-hatching. Now, if you remember cross-hatching, that is where you're using hatching, but then you're going in and you're going in the opposite direction, whether it's diagonal, whether it's up and down, or side to side, you're gonna go in the opposite direction for cross-hatching, okay? So I'm gonna leave that blank as well, and I'm gonna leave about the same amount of space, pretty wide berth, for the first part, and then I'm gonna come in again and just add lines the opposite way, okay? All right, for this last part here, I'm going to do the exact same thing as up here, except I'm going to come in with the lines going in the opposite direction. So I'm basically just going to overlap and try and leave no space. And again, because it's crayon, some lines are going to be thick unless you sharpen it. For the stippling, I think you already pretty much know what to do. It's kind of like the dot painting that we did. You're just going to basically color in this area with dots. So the further it gets to the right, the more dots you're going to put in, and the darker it's going to get. All right, so I filled in my area of dots here, and you notice it goes again from light to dark. So I'm gonna do the same thing, only this time I'm going to be blending. So remember, for blending, you're going to try and go from light to dark, but you don't have to do it all at once, okay? So I'm gonna start here, and it's okay if I go outside the lines, that's fine, all right? And I'm just gonna, lift up on the pressure and go lighter and lighter and lighter as I go towards the white. All right, so this is the basic idea for blending. It's, you know, okay. I could probably go even a little harder in here and trying to get really those lights and darks even better. I could probably press in here to make this even darker here. But for the most part, this is what I want you to do. I just want you to think about how to color in whatever it is you're going to color, less randomly. How can I use the skills that I've practiced? So instead of just, I just want to hurry up and get this over with and color, try to make it neat. Try to use some of these techniques in order to make your drawing even better. All right?